Pedro Pascal has been over the moon in the last few years.
Pedro Pascal, The Last of Us!
Playing iconic roles in major IP franchises.
My next guest tonight had his face ripped off his skull in Game of Thrones. He now stars in Narcos. Please welcome Pedro Pascal.
Turning into a fan-favorite persona.
Little Pedro Pascal from Santiago, Chile, hosting Saturday Night Live.
But then, he was cast as Reed Richards in Marvel's new Fantastic Four, and now everyone suddenly doesn't like him anymore. Marvel fans are devastated by his casting, but what's the reason behind this paradoxical hate? Well, it's most probably overexposure. Pedro Pascal is literally fucking everywhere. He has appeared in prestigious shows like Game of Thrones and Narcos in the past, from where he rose to fame. And in recent years, he is literally dominating pop culture. From the new Gladiator movie, the Wonder Woman sequel, to shows like The Last of Us and The Mandalorian. He's always on our screens. But there are also a few other actors who are everywhere in Hollywood, including Tom Holland, Timothée Chalamet, and Ryan Gosling. So why is Pedro's overexposure a problem? Well, it's primarily the roles which he is cast in.
I will be your champion.
Pascal is being typecast into roles of father figures. So much so, he has been termed the favorite daddy of Hollywood. Joel, Mando, and now Reed Richards. This is exactly what the Marvel fans are not supporting. He is like taking the place of Ryan Gosling, who is best known for playing "He's Literally Me" characters. Pedro's reputation is working against him. But Pedro Pascal is not the only popular face in the new Fantastic Four. Ebon Moss-Bachrach has been cast as the Thing. He came into attention after acting in the critically acclaimed series The Bear. Vanessa Kirby is playing Susan Storm. She has appeared in major roles in shows like The Crown and The Hour, and in movies like the Mission Impossible series and Fast and Furious. Stranger Things, and another Gladiator 2 star, Joseph Quinn, is playing Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch. Marvel has shifted from its original formula of casting relatively new and unknown faces into big roles to now casting somewhat known and popular names. We saw the castings of Russell Crowe, Florence Pugh, David Harbour, Christian Bale, Jonathan Majors, and many others in very significant roles in the MCU. But this has definitely happened before on a smaller scale. Robert Pattinson was cast in the new Batman movie after appearing in the Twilight movies and Christopher Nolan's Tenet. Christian Bale was cast in Batman Begins when he was fairly popular after American Psycho. We all know how these turned out. The new Batman film is being considered a new benchmark in making darker superhero movies. And Batman Begins resulted into the greatest superhero film trilogy ever made. Bale had to never look back after that. His career skyrocketed. But one thing that Christian Bale was never accused of, being a one-dimensional actor. So, how is Pedro Pascal a one-dimensional actor? Well, the same old reasons. Typecast, absence of range, the daddy persona. He also has the helmet curse, where some of his performances are hidden under a mask or a helmet, which to some people further proves his lack of acting capabilities. In The Mandalorian, he was covered by a full body armor and helmet. But to be honest, the character of Mandalorian demanded the use of a helmet. To me, it was a portrayal of his body language capabilities. Pedro proved that he can express emotions without showing his face, which I consider as a much harder task in this context. In The Last of Us, many of his scenes were shadowed by the darkness. It's just how it is in horror. In Wonder Woman 84, his final scenes were covered in various lights, but we could still see him, and he was probably the best thing in that film, so let's pass on that. In Game of Thrones, he didn't have any helmet, but he should have. I just realized he is turning into the new Sean Bean. But is he really one-dimensional, though? He plays two somewhat similar characters in Game of Thrones and Gladiator 2. Both are from period dramas. But their natures are completely different. One is a charismatic, rebellious person, a lone wolf who fights against an empire. His vengeance story is very personal, and that makes him an emotion-driven character. A character who is also very proud and cocky.
I want you to fuck me like it's my last night in this world.
And did you?
Did I what?
Fuck him like it was his last night in this world?
On the other hand, we have a somber leader who fights for an empire, ruthlessly enforces authority, a disciplined and dutiful person. His story is much more on political warfare than personal agendas, driving the fate of an empire. He comes off as a very restrained character who abides by the rules.
Victus. General.
Pedro masterfully portrays both of them, from their nuanced emotions to outbursts of feelings. His portrayal of Oberyn Martell is widely considered as one of the most impactful performances on television. Pedro has also played Javier Peña in Narcos and Joel Miller in The Last of Us. Both of them are tough men navigating through dangerous environments. One of them is an enforcer of law with a goal of catching dangerous criminals. He is supposed to uphold order and fix the society. He is a reluctant killer, but still has a moral code. The other person is a former smuggler trying to survive through a zombie apocalypse. He has no illusion of a moral compass and does whatever it takes to survive and keep his family safe, even if that makes him a villain. He is a very brutal, unapologetic person who is trying to save whatever is left of the society. Again, Pedro brilliantly played two contrasting characters and made them iconic. I don't think any other actor has so many iconic roles on television. But this is exactly what led to a new problem, an opposite of our original problem. Pedro Pascal may be a prestige TV actor, but he has no blockbuster films. Yeah, he has worked in Gladiator 2 and Wonder Woman 84. But neither of those films gained much acclaim from the critics or the masses, with the latter being a complete box office disaster. Pascal has never starred in a commercially successful film and has no reputation of being profitable. So the fans are justified asking if Pedro has what it takes to carry a franchise. As Reed Richards is not just some random superhero. He will probably be the face of MCU for the next decade or so, replacing the likes of Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans. I believe Pedro will do fine with his experience of working in major roles, and we'll see the reality when the film finally releases. But for now, we can definitely agree that these doubts on Pedro are more intense and gaslighted than they should be, due to primarily two reasons: the casting of John Krasinski in Multiverse of Madness, and heavy rumors of Adam Driver being cast as Reed Richards for the new Fantastic Four film, which later turned out to be wrong. Both of these events started hostile comparisons among the fans. A large group of people demanded Marvel to cast Krasinski as the Reed Richards of the main universe, which was actually very close to happening. His appeal to the wider audience was very impactful, even though it was for a short period. Many claimed that he was born to play that role. Well, that didn't happen. So it naturally angered the fans when it was confirmed that John Krasinski is not coming back. Instead, it was Adam Driver who was now going to play Mr. Fantastic. Star Wars and Marriage Story fame, Adam Driver was definitely an interesting choice to play Reed Richards. Some fans were even ready to let go of their John Krasinski demands for Adam. Well, that didn't happen either. Pedro Pascal was cast as Reed Richards, and this was the point where most of the fans were done with this shit. The unnecessary comparisons among these three great actors is what actually led to all the drama. Who's the most suitable actor for the role? Was John Krasinski really the only perfect choice? Can Pedro Pascal lead the franchise better than Adam Driver?
To put you through hell. You see what you look for, you know? You're not a kid anymore, Robbie. I don't think I'll ever be a kid again, kiddo.
Well, to answer these questions, we have to understand what makes a good Reed Richards. He is a sexy professor who can make scientific jargon sound natural. He is an intellectual person with a slight sense of arrogance and superiority, not too likable nor too cold. He has his rare emotional moments, revealing his gentle, loving side, contrasting his general intellectual nature. He He has a natural authority in his presence, balanced with calm and composure. All of these behavioral traits, I believe Pedro Pascal can pull off really fucking well. He does have that range. Only problem left is looking the part. He doesn't look like the comic book Reed Richards. Well, I don't think it's that important. You see, Robert Downey Jr. didn't look like comic book Tony Stark either. After his success, the comic book Tony Stark started to look like Robert Downey Jr. To be honest, I feel like all these doubts and broken expectations are part of the job in this genre of films. You could find countless actors who were criticized when they were cast for a role, but then went on to fucking rule the world. Now we call them iconic. Robert Downey Jr., Christian Bale, Heath Ledger. The list is endless. Even recently, in a very similar incident, like Pedro Pascal, the new Superman teaser caused a huge rift among the fans. It led to a digital war and divided the fans into two groups. Watch this video for the full story.